Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Passing Notes, sharing music between and across and over generations.
Yes.
Um, my name, of course, is Cael, and I am joined by the triage of Hansons, Jack, Mark, and Bart. Everybody's in the house, and I'm super excited. Last week, I introduced one of my favorite albums currently, which is the 1980 album Garden of Love by none other than the legendary Rick James. Rick James to me has always been more than just a Dave Chappelle sketch. He has been more than a drug addict and more than just a punk funk singer. He, to me, is one of the forgotten artists. If you only know him through Super Freak, then you are severely missing out on the wealth of talent and quality music that Rick James has put out his entire career. Unfortunately, Rick James passed away in, I believe, 2005 from cardiac arrest. But his music, through me and through his fans, continues to live on. There is certainly no one like Rick James currently, and there will probably never be anybody like him ever again. And with that being said, I'm curious to know, how was everybody's listen this week?
Well, we haven't established an order here
Hmm,
yet.
let's do that first. How would we like to go about this, gents?
uh, I don't have a whole lot of notes. Not that doesn't allude to anything, but it's just they're just not very detailed. So put me wherever you want.
How are your notes, Bart?
I don't think it really matters. Let's just roll into it, boys. We don't need to make this too freaking complicated, do we? I mean, we've all got some stuff to say. It doesn't really matter the quantity. Let's just get into it. So, I am somebody who only knew Rick James from the Chappelle Show skits, and Super Freak, of course. So this was all new to me, and I don't know why. I expected more of a um, like aggressive, like yelly sound, like more like who am I trying to think of? Doesn't matter.
James, James Brown, maybe?
Yes, James Brown. Thank you,
Yeah,
Kale.
that's it.
Thank you, Kale. I was expecting something more like that, and I was very pleasantly surprised that this is not what it was. And it honestly reminded me a lot of some of the kind of house music or future funk disco music I listen to now, and that they're longer tracks. It's kind of loopy. I mean, there's a lot of variety mixed in, so it's not quite the same, but that's not a bad thing. I like the little variety and it's mixed in between. Um, so yeah, I'll just, without spoiling anything, I'll just say I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised is a good way to put it. Yeah, I was even less informed than Bart was, as he knew Rick James from the Chappelle skits and Super Freak. I knew Rick James from just Super Freak. Uh, uh, so yeah, I mean, I am digging some of the stuff that I hadn't heard before, and like, this is like one of those albums. This is the first album I think since my last album that I've listened to that I'm like, this would be a great vinyl, and I want it on vinyl. And that last album was Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino by Arctic Monkeys. I got that album, that vinyl, 2 times as gifts. One now resides in Bart's possessions because I don't need two. Um, but now I'm looking for a copy of this. I'm thinking with my most recent listens. So
It's worth it.
Really?
It's worth it. It's
yeah.
worth it. Good investment.
Wow, you are some sick puppies. Um, I also only knew Rick James from Super Freak. If I'd ever heard anything else, I ignored it, evidently. And like Bart, I would say, yeah, I was afraid that the vocal quality was going to be similar to what you hear on Super Freak, and was so glad it wasn't that back in your throat sound hardly ever on this album. So that was good news. And yes, I would say it was more pleasant than anticipated.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. That's awesome.
And happy birthday, Cael.
And thank you very much for saying that. It's so funny you bring up records because my birthday gift, I got a gift certificate to the Vinyl Emporium downtown. So I'm looking forward to using that this weekend.
We have a store
Sweet.
called the Vinyl Emporium.
In Cedar Rapids? Yeah.
Can you take me, please?
Yeah. You want to come with me? I'm serious. Do you want to go?
When?
This weekend, probably.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Let's do it then.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, back to this record. Not to mince words or waste any more time, let's jump into these tracks. Let's go.
But before that,
Well-
Cael, you forgot to kick it to me. God damn it!
Kick it to me.
First, before we dive into the tracks here, I would like to read a comment from last week's episode and a review that was left on Apple Podcasts.
I don't even want to hear the review. I'm dying to hear the review, and I don't even want to hear the review.
Amen to that
Okay,
one.
we'll read that second. The review from last week is from one Jaslyn Luckman. This episode was very sweet. I think this was the perfect album to do, as there's a little something for everyone to enjoy. Smiley face. Thank you, Jaslyn.
That's
Made a good
it,
choice.
Chase Sizzle.
Yeah. And now we have a
That was nice.
review. This stems
Turn me
back
into three.
to just after the Always episode, as it says in the the review here. The review is titled Headbanger in Chief. This pod has gotten better with each episode, and the most recent, Always Anti-Socialites, was fantastic. The split opinions are both necessary and enjoyable. I really like the breakdowns of each track by each member. I'm glad Jader's got his due representation.
All right, which one of us wrote
username
that?
sent?
That is Chase Hannon, another friend of ours.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Chase. Really appreciate it. Whose
Hey,
perspective did you like best? Let us know next time in the comment.
If
Hey, for any fans out there, let us know whose views you align most closely with. We'd love to know.
Ooh, we need teams.
Yeah, whose team
T-shirts.
are you on?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
All right, and with that, I'm done. Kick us off, Cael.
The wheels are already turning.
And we're back. Yes, let's dive into this puppy. I tried to keep this one nice and short and sweet, even though, yes, Jack, there are a few songs which go over the 5-minute mark, which I'm glad you're still here with us to enjoy.
And I'll have you know that I don't comment really about that at all this week. So get off my ass, Cael.
Oh, really? Hey, spoiler. I honestly was I was waiting for that prediction to come true, and you're already gonna shatter my expectations like that? Wow.
Expect the unexpected.
Oh yes, and for order, let's go as we did. Bart, Jack, Mark, if that works for everybody. Cool.
Oh, I couldn't possibly go first.
your false humility is not even registered.
Let's dive in with this first track.
So
Number one, a whoop 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 slapper alert.
slapper on number one. We're
Slapper.
opening with a slapper.
100% slapper. Of course, the big time.
Okay. Before I get going, how's my connection? Am I coming in clear? I need like some kind of universal hand signal, or maybe you guys all make a noise at the same time. Like either you start waving your arms or screaming. So I hear some kind of audio. So it's like, oh, hey, you're lagging out. You need to chill for a sec. Anyway, all right, let's get into this while I'm still good. So first, I just need a quick question. Cael is clearly the most experienced Rick Jamer here. Um, how extensive is your experience beyond this album?
Um, I'm familiar with this one very well, and I kind of know a little bit about it and the recording process of it. Um, Based off of the doc which I sent you guys. Oh, by the way, for the listeners, if you like what you heard and you want to know a little bit more about Rick James, I highly recommend you check out the Tales from the Tour Bus episode on Rick James. You can find clips on YouTube. I think it's on Showtime, but if you don't have Showtime, feel free to look it up on YouTube. It's a great show. But I'm familiar with the members of the band kind of briefly and a little bit about Rick James's life. But I don't really have much musical knowledge other than this album, the Street Songs album, which was probably his most popular one, which had Super Freak on it. And I think he has another one with this. Oh, Cold Blooded. That was the other one. But other than that, he's kind of always been there in the background for me.
Okay. I guess I'm just asking, like, would you say that this album is a pretty good representation of Rick James
Yes.
overall? Because I mostly just because I think that if it is, I was really impressed that you were able to, I don't know if I want to say sum him up, but give people a good impression with.
Uh-oh.
Ah, we're at our first leg point. All right, where'd you lose me?
All right. It was to give a good impression with. You're surprised that Cael gave him a good impression.
Oh, like just that it was like such a good impression of him in just like 6 songs, essentially. Right? Am I lagging out again?
No, you're
Oh,
good.
yeah. But to sort of comment on that, yeah, I think if you're a brand new listener of Rick James, I think this is where I would start. Um, right before he was super huge, and it was sort of at his turning point, and I think it encapsulates his career, and I think his distinct voice and distinct songwriting um, the best, are arguably better than the super big hits.
Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know what you caught. Anyway, I think it's a good album choice, especially for being so few tracks. Um, and when you were calling it a slapper, I mean, one of the things I have to say about it is that, oh my God, am I liking it? Okay, good. It has that like slappy disco sound. I don't know what it is, some kind of percussion drum, but I mean, you know the sound if you know what I'm saying when I say slappy disco sound. Great horns, strings, a nice bass groove. Like I was saying, this sounds like something when they would sample, and loop over itself or loop one little section of, and I'm okay. No, I'm still here. Okay. Um, Wrap it up. The breakdown in like the last third of the song gives me serious Cool in the Gang vibes. The Born to Funk, and okay, I mean, Born
Oh, but
to Funk and
It's got a good beat.
you think
love,
internet comes in
love
waves?
That stutter's getting
is,
worse.
is just normally just
Wow.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
It's a record.
Hey.
Art,
to-
art, art.
Oh my god. What's going on?
You
This
lagged
is-
out.
Yeah, I figured that much when everybody's face froze. Okay, well, we can try and go no video. I think that normally works. Just makes me sad. Makes me die a little on the inside.
Fair. We lost you at after Cool in the Gang.
Yeah, Cool in the Gang vibes in that last third breakdown. I was just gonna say I can listen to the 12-minute version of this on the remastered and barely notice the difference because when I'm listening to this one, especially, I had this one on a few times when I was doing chores around the house, and it's a great just like doing shit song.
You're like sweeping.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Fuck
Sweeping
yeah.
laundry,
Success
yeah,
is all
some
mine.
dishes. Why not? Yeah, I'm getting down with it.
Funny. Yeah, super funky tune. A little self-celebration kind of going on. Which is, was this, what album was this? Is this after Street Smart?
Nope,
Song?
that's the next one.
So this was
After.
even really before he was that big.
hmm
I mean, hey, if you know where you're going, good on you. He made it to the big time. Success was all his. Yeah, I mean, this one just like explodes in the chorus with horns, which are infamously known as to be my favorite. So I mean, it's got that going for it. The whole song is just so much fun, from all the different horn sounds throughout to Rick James's personality that just bleeds through the song, through his different vocal things he likes to do, all the way to that weird nasally guy coming in to comment something occasionally. I don't know if you guys hear that. He just goes,
You've hit the big time.
yeah, that guy. It's like, what is this? Is this Love Shack? Why is that guy?
Confirmation,
Yeah,
affirmation.
yeah, it's just pure fun to groove to, and puts me in a good mood every time it comes on. So I love this tune.
Yeah, this thing is part disco, part funk, part show tune. It's like somewhat, well, not somewhat, I guess, very autobiographical. And I always like those kind of songs, the songs that celebrate a rising artist's success like this. It's just a genuine, wow, I've made it. And those are always a good ride. So nice track. Yeah.
Yeah, super fun track, as we mentioned. We mentioned all the horns and all the different sounds and so forth. A little bit about Rick James and what Rick James wanted to do, and I think what he exemplifies in this song. Um, the um, the documentary talks a little bit about how um, Rick had the viewpoint of you have to pimp the audience. They need to know the songs. They need to know when to do certain things. They need to know that, you know, we're just here to party and have a good time. And you can do it with us, but you can't be in half ass. You have to do it the whole way. Um, and that I think comes through in his personality. And the personality of this song. I like that Mark mentioned show tune because that was exactly one of the first impressions that I had when I dropped the needle for the first time. I was like, this is really it has that it has the movement of a musical piece or a musical theater piece, which I really like and appreciate. Um, and yeah, this is like for anybody who's interested, this is, in my opinion, where you should start. Like this is song one of who Rick James is. It's funky. It has a hook. It's hummable, which in the doc they also mentioned that was a big part of the songwriting process. It has to be hummable. Um, and yeah, it's quintessential Rick James. Moving along then into the second track, which of course is "Don't Give Up on Love."
Man, I'm almost more excited to hear what you guys think about this one than to talk about it myself. I don't have a ton, just something about this chorus. Maybe it's the la la la's or just the background accompaniment in general, but something just really sucks me in and carries me along on this one. There's a few nice nuggets, but nothing really crazy musically, just a nice tune and one of my favorites. And I'm a sucker for kind of an album setup, and this kind of begins what to me is a true album setup where one song transitions into the next for the next four songs maybe. It really sounds like a complete or like thought out um, product.
Yeah. I'm gonna preface before I get into this track that if Bart's favorite track is the next track, you're dead to me.
What?
I'm just saying the
Well,
next track better not be your favorite.
Ian hates that song so much he had to warn me.
I don't necessarily hate
Unbelievable.
it so much, but like,
But I hate it,
yeah. But this track is also awesome, just like the last one. The second half of the chorus gets me every time. The if you do, love might just give up on you. I mean, love that. And then I mean, on this,
He's
what do you say?
he's straining like his voice. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good. He's really into it.
Yeah, Rick's voice really shines in this song, and that second pre-chorus is also killer when he gets the. It's just something about the cadence and rhyming with the
Yeah.
pair of his voice. It's just they go so good. It's like when we talk of love as the bottom line between two sheets when the love is fine. I did that cadence wrong, but you get it. It I love that. It gets me every time.
It's good.
The whole song is really amazing. I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot like musically that just stands out to you, but for some reason the entire song, it like kind of in a weird way stands out when nothing stands out necessarily, unless you're like really trying to listen, which is a weird thing for me to try to take notes on. Um, but I got a few things, but yeah, I really think this is a stellar track.
you nailed it, Jack, when you said nothing really stands out.
Okay.
Um, uh, is is this on this track? Does he do a little more of his back of the throat? Yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
I think that's what has damaged me on this one. I really struggled to say anything about it. It's okay, nothing awful, nothing great. I just really couldn't find much to attract me
Mhm.
or repel me, you know? It just doesn't elicit any emotion for me on this one. And it's not like I ignored it. I knew it was happening on this track and I listened to it and again and again. And I'm just like, why? But sometimes there's not a specific reason. You know, it's part of our individual makeup. To me, this is like a bad date. It just kind of lays there. Um, Never good.
Well, Dad, don't give up.
Okay. The night is young.
Yeah.
Hey, try to teach her a few things.
Yeah, second track on the album. Definitely not my favorite, like not even close. And I agree. It's for the most part, it's very nice. It's a fine song, but ultimately it's pretty kind of forgettable. And I understand the point, and Bart mentioned something that is coming up, which is the theme, which of course connects the rest of the tracks. And this song, for me, I don't critique too difficult, because this is the prelude. This is the overture, for me, introducing some of the musical themes that are going to be presented in the rest of the tracks. If Big Time was your number one, like, let's get going first song you hear on the album. It does that job perfectly. And this song serves as a little nugget and a little suggestion into the next category. So without further ado, oh, yes, Island Lady.
Well, I'm glad, Cael, you're so stoked about it.
I I am.
This one, like I said, the transition is nice. This one, the nice outro from "Don't Give Up on Love," easing into the breeze blowing, birds
Birds.
chirping, waves crashing. It's warm, boys. But then the singing comes in, and this one is so slow. And I mean, "Don't Give Up on Love" wasn't exactly quick, but I don't know. This one just like grinds to a halt on the album for me. I love the relaxed vibe and atmosphere in the background, but I don't know. This one ended up being a miss from me. One of the weakest on the album, I'd even say.
Yes. Right. I'm saying yes because this is the most different song than the rest of them on the album. So if anyone was gonna be Bart's, kind of off the main road favorite, this was the instant go to. You're like, this is Bart's song. It's got no chorus, just 3 verses that take forever to get through. So it's like Bart's song, but thank God it's not. I can get the picture. Yeah, the picture is great. The seagulls, barking away in the air, sea dogs. The breeze, you can feel the warmth 100%. It's the Garden of Love album. It's warm. It's an island lady for sure. I get the picture. I can feel the thing, but like the song itself is just like, I'm not a fan. And also, when he does the swallow line, it makes me uncomfortable each and every time. Every time. Something about I love every sip and
Every
savor every swallow. Ugh. And he goes, oh no. And I'm like, okay, guy.
Okay, guy.
It's a skip for me.
Yeah, the beach and bird sound effects are absolutely the best part of this song.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chief.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the Mark just like the karate chop.
And there's just there's just not enough Tame Impala on this one to be the Bart song, which doesn't leave it much. Although I will say parts of verse 2 are pretty nice until exactly what Jack says at the end of verse 2. And I wrote those lyrics down too. And I savor every sip and every swallow. And then he goes into this conniption, some kind of a fit, where he howls. And I've written the lyrics down. Well, my interpretation of them. Woo, yeah, umba, yeah, or some semblance of that. And ordinarily, I like a good scat, but this not so much.
I like a good scat. I wish we could isolate that. Use that as a drop. Oh, the poor island lady. I'll say, I love the transition from the last song into this one, and I do not care when he opens up the first line and goes, "My lady of the island." It's so buttery and silky smooth to me. I don't care. I love that part, and I love the way that he sings it. Yes, yes, yes. The swallow line is weird. Okay. It's 1980. He's not. He may have hit the big time, but he can still mess up on track 3. It's all right. I'm gonna let it go. And yes, the scat is not great. But I think it's nice. I think his heart is in the right place. And then, if you're listening on vinyl, we go to side 2.
Yeah.
And of course, we get it on if we have nothing else to say on Island Lady. But it's time to get it on.
Well, I just
in
want
the
to say
sunshine.
one thing that we can acknowledge that Rick James
Yeah.
is not Scatman John. Like we can just all acknowledge that. He's not the Scatman.
No. Scatman Crothers.
Skibidi but up, up. All right, yeah, getting it on. Come on, Bart.
All right, I'm a little concerned. Okay, nope, it looks like I am good. Okay, so yeah, Island Lady, whatever. We kind of had to struggle through that, but it's okay. It's got us in the mood. We've calmed down now. You know,
The palate cleanser.
we're ready for the slow one, and this is another beautiful transition with the birds. You know, especially when after that you're going to open with this angelic chorus. It's like a giant door is opening with like a blinding light, and then there's this angelic chorus and some big strings and the slow build into the just getting it on. You know, it's so good. I'm ready to run this one till the wheels falls off. And then, you know, as a bonus at the end, we kind of get the bam, 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 the nice little cheeky outro even into the next one. So I love this one.
Yeah, a song that is just one big build, really. It's just one big build of a song. About halfway through, just it hits, and then it builds. You know, things just keep getting added on, and they don't really take it away. And that's what kind of makes it so good. There's not a whole lot going on lyrically, but that's not bad. It's just a great tune to vibe to. Excuse me. You're just getting it on, for lack of a better word or better way to put it. You're getting it on, and you know you don't got to pay too much attention to it. And I think that's what it was meant to do, and it does that pretty good.
All right, before I get into this track too far, yes, bird sound effects, and just right now, hot take alert.
For God's sake.
Too many sound effects on this
These are
podcast.
some damn good bird sound effects. Imagine, I mean, the Beatles' Blackbird has horrible bird sound effects. Those are so cheesy, and yet it's a classic, great song. Imagine these good bird effects would take that song to new heights. I mean, unlimited heights. How epic would Blackbird be if it didn't have that ancient wannabe bird sound effect on it, and it had something as good as these?
A wannabe bird sound effect.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Something to think about.
That's something that people aren't appreciating, how bird sound production and music has evolved over generations.
Totally. That's our next podcast.
I'd almost like to see an AI generated bird sound and see what that's like these days.
Well, this track has a lovely opening. I would call this love funk. This one soars even as it gets down, and that is something. Great track. Put it in the vault. Vault sound effect man, please.
Come on, Jack. One time.
Yeah, well, the one time comes when we get
Later.
to the vault
Later.
section.
The premature
How far
vault.
have vault sounds come?
Not far enough.
having to zip
Just
my mouth.
getting it on, yeah. Who doesn't like this song? Like, if you don't like this song, I dare say I'm no longer a friend of yours, because I think it's just delightful. It's fun. It's upbeat. You don't have to listen too hard. He doesn't challenge you in any way. It's catchy as all hell. Um, you guys already picked up all the best highlights, from the birds to the huh, and that's why it's a Bart song. I think I think the huh, I think that's the only thing that, that makes the
Oh, come on. Everybody likes the you
I'm a
can't even put me in a box like that.
That's
I'm a
why
huge
Kung Fu Fighting is also a Bart song.
I'm a huge fan. I'm with you.
I'm a
Totally.
huge fan of the huh. But you guys nailed it. Everything that I wanted to say about this track has been said. So let's not go any further. Let's go into the next song, which has the lovely, lovely transition with that hook. Do 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 do. Summer love, summer love.
First of all, Jack, of course I like Kung Fu Fighting. It's a disco track with a sick little flute added and some Eastern elements. I mean,
Sick.
come on. Obviously, I fucking love Kung Fu Fighting. Everybody knows this. If they've listened to one episode of the show, they know this. Now, on to Summer Love, another disco slapper. As
Yes.
I said earlier, you know the sound by now, that disco slap on those bongos or whatever the F they are. And it's the hat trick to round out the summer sound that on this warm weather album. Some like it hot. You know I'm a sucker for that summer sound. And could this be love? Summer love is just what the doctor ordered. Slip in some sexy sax and some sizzling synth and put a bow on it. Great track. Make it hot for you. And then
I'm
sax,
burning up.
the sax backing, the It's a nice one. That's a nice one, kids.
No. In fact, that was my first note is, ooh, the sax. First thing. Yeah, great tune. Love the lyrics. And like the seasons, I'm changing for reasons. Great. I love the harsher tones he adapts during the outro and whenever he's talking about anything hot or warm.
Make it hot for you.
Of course, Rick James couldn't resist adding in the tasteful moans at the end. I'm sure those were that recording those in the booth was super professional and was not awkward for anybody in the room at all. I bet it felt awesome to hear in the headphones of the guy recording it. That would probably sound awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a great tune. I like it a lot.
Yeah, has a nice groove. Pretty sweet chorus. Love that little summer love background singer piece. Very strong track. Gotta add it to my pool playlist along with Alternative Champs Swimming in the Pool.
Yeah.
The pool playlist is expanding, folks.
Depending on
Sure.
who's attending that, you might need to skip the last 30 seconds of the song.
It's an adult swim.
It's
Oh, funny.
Oh man, Rick James has done it again. Could this be love? Summer love? Yes, it can be, and yes, I do love this track. I don't understand why this wasn't bigger. One of the things that frustrates me just about Rick James in general is like there's like he's got hits. Like these are really solid like radio songs. Now granted I'm not the expert in the room on radio songs, but there's a lot of quality in a lot of these songs, and this is one of them. Beautiful warm vibe. gets me excited, yeah, to get out to the pool. And yeah, you guys nailed pretty much everything else I needed to say. So this moves again into the almost last track, Merry-Go-Round. All
So you
right,
talk
okay.
about
Just real quick, timeout. All right, preface. James did a lot of drugs. And yeah, that's all I'll say before this song. And he loved marijuana. Like, he really liked pot. If you watch the doc, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, he really liked to smoke weed.
he's a man of culture, clearly.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and but to your earlier point about like radio hits, I don't know exactly what radio qualities they're missing maybe to not make it, but I'll say you're definitely right at the very least, because when I think of like radio or pop songs, it's usually songs that will grab people quickly, after one listen or maybe two, and it's something that will get you right away, like, ooh, that's something catchy, and you like it almost instantly. And you might not like it for a long time, but at the very least, it's gonna jump out at you right away. And I don't know, maybe I listened to this album more than I thought, but because I had it on loop for a few hours when I was doing stuff. But outside of that, I maybe got, I don't know, 2 car listens in, maybe 3. But I felt so familiar with these, and I kind of knew very quickly whether I liked them or not. Um, I don't know. I agree with you though. Summer Love especially could have been a banger. Maybe it's just because they're long.
It would be excuse me. Be interesting if this had come out after he
Super
blew up
Freak.
so large.
Yeah.
Then he'd have a little more name recognition for that potential radio exposure, possibly.
Right. But as far as merry-go-round goes, this is one that I definitely just had going and I wasn't really paying attention. But whenever the part comes on, it's the piano plays the same melody and people are singing, "She likes it up and down." But the chicks are singing it too, like, "She likes it up and down."
So the last
and the piano is playing it too, and it's that part is fire. But the rest of the song, total miss for me. But "She Likes It Up and Down," fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, Merry-Go-Round, the last full song on the album. Bringing back a little bit more energy than the last ones. They were a little bit slower. This one's kind of a little bit more upbeat. I love the bridge and how it sounds like a child's song. Kind of adds a little bit to the whole merry-go-round play on words. The Mary wanna dance and Mary wanna sing. that one kind of thing. Sounds just like a child is singing it, which is funny. Also love it whenever he adds that little growl to his vocals in any song, and there is some of that in this one as well, as there were in most of them. But I just thought I'd add it here. I like how the last half of the song is pretty much the same lyrics over and over again with just a little difference each time, and that is 4 minutes of the song. I think it's something Rex James does actually very good. He's very good at doing it. Because he can do quite a few different things with his voice, and also the band is good as well with their differentiatings as well. And he's got the backup who can also do different things with their voices. So there's a lot of things to just divvy up there in the last 4 minutes. But it sometimes, frankly, it can seem maybe a little long at times, right? Because it's like 4 minutes. But like,
no,
I'm not gonna comment about the length of the song, but like, it may be. Just like that.
Good.
Oh.
Well, Bart had mentioned it before, but I heard it on this one. That hint of Kool and the Gang, the song "Celebrate," and maybe it's just because it's the same note that they're using.
Yeah.
It's like, so wait a sec here. This is pop funk, hooky, the do I don't even remember how it goes. But he's got the doo doo doos and ends with bop, which is very catchy. There you go. There you go. The bridge is very catchy also. This is just a feel good song, and what's not to like about that? This is up there for me on the album.
Another fun one. Rick leaves us with a very happy sound, if a kind of silly sound at points, or maybe a little too long at some points, but nevertheless a great hook, and a great sound. His musical choices on this song, I think, are all appropriate and great. Whether you're listening to the lyrics intently alone or you put this record on at a party, I think this is going to be a highlight, and an easy one to dance to and to sing along and clap your hands to. And I think, at the end of the day, Rick James was all about the party, and this is a good showcase of that. Before we move into the final-ish track, want to give a huge shout out to Rick James's band, the Stone City Band, as well as the Mary Jane Girl backup dancers and singers, because they are fabulous on this album. They sound great. The horn section in particular is great, as well as the drumming work. And of course, shout out to my man Levi Russell on the keys and keyboards. If you guys watch the documentary, he's a hoot. He's kind of a character, and I like him. So shout out to all those people on this record. So the very last track, of course, kind of an interesting track. This is the Getting It On in the Sunshine reprise, but it kind of has an interesting ending, if we listened carefully. Well, not even that carefully, but you get the idea. Anything to add insofar as that? And do we all know what I'm talking about? The ending.
Yeah, I mean, I had this whole deluxe edition or whatever playing, so I got I got 19 minutes of big time a listen. And I thought you were going to say Gypsy Girl, actually, and I was a little bit worried because I didn't actually write notes on Gypsy Girl because I was like, no, I thought he said that wasn't one.
Nope.
But anyway, no, I mean, I'm always down for more Getting It On. So even if it's only a 1 minute 40-second tease, I'm still okay with it. And this was great. It's like it comes in right in the midst of the song, but then we get our little, it kind of goes to a cappella almost, and it's just him, and he's kind of freestyling. It's more of like a casual backstage recording, like a phone recording almost, more than a studio recording. And that's fun, and it kind of gives the voice some more, I don't know, natural sound, like more like candid sound or something. I don't know how to describe it, but it's fun, and he's like, save me a glass of that, or like he's making a few side comments, and I love that kind of thing, as you know. So this was a cute little addition for me.
Yeah, it's a fun little group hangout, sing along. It's a very cute way to end the album. I dig it. It's cute.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes there. Nice encore. Sweet. When I first saw that as an additional track, I'm like, the first thing I thought of was, oh, this is like, a new band that has ran out of material. So they've got to recycle and start playing a song they've already played or something. But Bart's right on. I mean, who doesn't want more Getting It On?
Yeah, I just thought it was worth talking about, especially that little ending part, because on the actual album, the record, it doesn't have that. At least the copy that I have, there is no acoustic part where he's just kind of singing and jamming. So I'm listening this week, and the first time I hear that, I'm like, what? I didn't know this was here, and it's great. And it's fun to see Rick sort of in the creative process, getting something started. He did, after all, write all of the songs, produce the record, and play bass on every single uh, track. So, I mean, super talented guy. R.I.P. to the legend. Um, yeah, that's about all the notes that I have. Does anybody have anything in closing that they'd like to say?
I wanted to say I think Rick James was kind of funny as a listen. He reminded me, I don't know who I heard this about. Maybe it was him, about somebody who had a hit song and it was originally, a pretty dirty song. But they kind of changed the lyrics to make it PG and it ended up being a massive hit. And that's what kind of Funk in Love and some of the other stuff reminds me of. It's like, Funk in Love, all right, man. I mean, if that's what you want to say to make it like not have an explicit tag on it, great. But I don't know. I think that that's funny. I mean, he's not really being shy about it on most tracks, so
No, he is not.
it's not exactly the same. But I just think I don't even know what I'm trying to say. The Funk and Love just gets me every freaking time.
Yeah. You don't think it was?
I'm glad you picked it. Sorry, Jack. This was a good pick, Cael. As usual, you hit us with something unexpected, and I'm almost always glad that I had the experience.
Yeah. Could have also been maybe Tutti Frutti, Little Richard's song that was
I think you might
dirty and
be
then
right.
got changed.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. From that other podcast, where it's just something. It was just like, what was it? Grabbing booty or something like that. Were the original lyrics, whatever. Yeah. I really enjoyed this listen, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw out my rating and also, kind of explain myself here.
Vault selection as well.
Um,
I could.
Okay. We can get to that when we get to it too.
Yeah. Vault is not something we need to rush per se.
It's already been chosen.
in case you guys tried to fast forward to the vault section, so we're still not there.
You got another 3 ads to watch, pal.
Oh,
Keep watching.
yeah.
No, I think so. My rating is a 3. Now, that might seem low. Yes. I enjoyed this album a lot, but there were some parts where it just seems like it kind of fades from like me actively listening to it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. I just feel it's a 3, not quite a 4. And you might be saying, well, that kind of contradicts. You want this on vinyl. Well, I'm like, not necessarily. Just some albums would be great vinyls, and this is just one of those where you just put on, forget about it, but you're having a good time listening to it, even though you're not paying attention to it that much. I mean, you pay attention to Big Time, and then you can kind of zone out because Big Time gets you in the gear, and then you kind of slow down, mellow out, and it's just something that's going. I mean, it's very similar to, my other one that I mentioned, Tranquility Base Hotel Casino. I just play that, and then that's the soundtrack to what I'm doing. It's just when I'm doing other things, I want music in the background, and this is a great album for that, in my opinion. So I think it's just a great vinyl, and it's a solid 3 from me.
I would also compliment Cael. I thought this was just the right amount, for me anyway, of Rick James. And it allowed me to, it may not be my favorite, my right down the middle type of music for me, but I definitely am glad I have a little broader, what do I say? Oh Lord. Knowledge, I guess, of Rick
Perspective.
James. music, yeah,
Yeah.
and to put in my musical toolbox. And yeah, perfect amount. And glad we did it. And I'm with Jack. I guess I'm going with a 3.
Okay, well, I'll tie it up before Cael puts the ball on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 3.5.
And I'm gonna meet Bart at his 3.5.
I would have met you guys there, but it's against my code. I can't do it. Sorry, guys. Solid numbers.
Ugh, conformist, just
Oh, I'm
boxed
the conformist.
brain.
Oh, okay. I believe that I don't even have to do the math. It'll be like a 3.25
Yeah.
average. Vaults.
Well, I know how one of us is gonna vote.
I think I gotta go big time.
I want my number 1 is Getting It On. Number 2 is probably Summer Love.
I think it's Getting It On for me. That's it's always been that's the one that gets in my head the most often.
I put it in the vault many minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well,
Just
I
getting it
also
on.
forgot to introduce this, but the song Getting It On has been solidified into the vault. Getting It On into the vault. And with that, that ends this week. Thank you, Cael, for introducing us into Rick James's Garden of Love. And now it's passed on to my older brother, Bart Hansen. What do you have in store for us this week?
All right, I already have a choice in mind, but I'm curious. If I were to offer you guys 4 choices, 1999, 2005, 2009, or 2011, what would your choice be?
What was the first year?
99.
99.
Same group or different groups?
Just on year alone.
Just on year.
99,
Ooh.
05, 09, or 11.
I'll go 11.
Seconded.
Do it.
Well, too bad. I picked 05 this week. Interesting. I was curious. I was very surprising. You guys, honestly, hey, I'm serious. You're not ready for 11 yet. You're really not.
Oh, God.
We need at least 2 or 3 more Bart weeks before we're ready for 2012.
Okay,
thank
I'm
you.
glad we didn't go for 11.
That's a tease for all listeners out there. Check out what came out in 2011. May or not have been a big one. That's big previews, But this week, I'm always tempted to keep the vibe the same, but since you guys continue to tag me as a hipster, I mean, I guess I just feel obligated to what's the subvert expectations. Maybe I don't know how hipster that is, but either way, that's what I like to do. So it's finally my turn to pull out a UK band, take a card out of Jack's book, and I am busting out my all-time favorite from the age I feel like everybody listens to UK rock bands. This is Kaiser Chiefs, the name of the group, and this is their 2005 album Employment. 12 tracks, 44 minutes.
You telling me we miss out on Ruby?
That's right.
Ruby.
I think we'll have plenty of alternatives.
All right.
Well, I like their vibe.
Beauty.
Are you saying that you have never heard of the Kaiser Chiefs?
I have heard of them. I have not listened to their music. But
Not
I know
even Ruby.
not even Ruby.
Oh my goodness. To be
play
fair,
Rock
I
Band?
only know it because it was a
No, I
bonus.
don't.
To be fair, I only
Second
know it
wrong.
because it was a bonus track on Guitar Hero, which means I had to purchase the song in the game and then play it outside of the actual game.
All right, exciting stuff.
Ooh, a
Yeah,
lot of
this will-
hits.
Wait. Yeah, and I don't know any of them besides Ruby, so I'm excited to get to know these guys.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, this will be. I think this will be a good one, boys.
I'm expecting some slappers.
You know me.
King Slap.
All right.
So, Cael, if I was going to listen to some more Rick James, what should I look at?
Definitely check out Street Songs. There's a lot of good stuff on that one. Let's take a look because I need to get my. There it is. Another one that's really good was his first album, which is "Come Get It," and that's the one that has Mary Jane on it, and you'll get a kick out of that one. That one's it's an interesting one, but it's fun. It's fun.
All right. And does that do it for us this week, fellas?
I
Believe
think
it.
so.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Passing Notes Podcast. Leave a comment about what you thought about this week's episode on the YouTube, and we will read it. Let us know who you are most like musically, taste-wise. Is it me? Today's hits and kind of all around. Is it Cael? Weird shit. Dad. Old hits. Bart.
Radio hits.
Radio hits. Old radio hits. Or Bart against the grain.
Against the grain.
Appreciate that.
Frat rock.
Frat rock.
Absolutely not.
Damn.
I'm more insulted by that than anything you've ever said.
I knew you would be.
And that does us for us. Thank you for listening. Peace out.